In episode 1, Kobashi Maru, Captain Michael Burnham of the USS Discovery and her partner Cleveland Booker invite the people of Alshane 4 to rejoin the United Federation of Planets. They prove the Federation's intentions by helping to fix long-broken Alshane technology. Then Book departs to his home planet Quajan to participate in his nephew Leto's coming-of-age ceremony. Burnham and the crew of the Discovery attend an official reopening of Starfleet Academy, where they meet new Federation President Lyra Rillick. Starfleet receives a distress call from the space station near Quajan, and Rillick accompanies Discovery to investigate. The space station has been sent spinning uncontrollably by an unknown gravitational distortion, and Burnham decides to help evacuate its personnel. Rillick questions Burnham's decisions, and later reveals that she was observing Burnham as a potential candidate for a new assignment, but has concerns about her approach. On Quajan, Book witnesses strange bird activity and flies off-world to investigate it, just as the gravitational distortion destroys the entire planet. In episode 2, Anomaly, Book becomes numb from grief following the loss of his planet and family, and is haunted by hallucinations of Leto. Science Officer Paul Stamets explains to Rillick and Starfleet Command that the destruction of Quajan was caused by an unprecedented gravitational anomaly that requires further investigation. Former Discovery Captain Saru returns to serve as Burnham's first officer, and they jump to a safe distance outside of the anomaly. Initial data disproves some of their theories, and Book volunteers to fly his ship into the anomaly to learn more. Burnham is convinced to let Book carry out the mission, and he is ultimately successful. During this time, the anomaly inexplicably changes direction and causes damage to Discovery, leaving them unsure where it will go next and what impact this will have on other planets. Book later begins to open up to Burnham about his grief. Meanwhile, Dr. Culber and Ensign Adira Tull help transfer the consciousness of Adira's deceased boyfriend Gray into a synthetic body, using an uncommon technology that was previously used on Jean-Luc Picard. In episode 3, Choose to Live, Javini, a Romulan citizen of Navarre and none of the Co-op Malat Order, attack several Starfleet ships to steal rare dilithium crystals. In one robbery, she kills an officer. Starfleet Admiral Charles Vance reveals this to Burnham, Navarre President Tarina, and Burnham's mother Gabrielle, who is a member of the Co-op Malat. Rillick does not want to pursue Javini without Tarina's guidance, since Navarre is on the verge of negotiating its re-entry into the Federation. Gabrielle believes Javini has found a lost cause to fight for and joins Burnham on a mission to arrest her. They find Javini on what appears to be a barren moon, but it is actually a massive starship holding refugees in suspended animation. Unable to wake them, Javini stole the dilithium so she can move the ship out of the path of the anomaly. Burnham arrests Javini, but helps wake the refugees and move their ship. Meanwhile, Stamets and Book travel to Navarre to parse the data on the anomaly, which Stamets has nicknamed the DMA, Dark Matter Anomaly. They do not learn what it is, but Tarina helps Book relive memories of Leto, which brings him some comfort. In episode 4, All Is Possible, Navarre fast-tracks its negotiation with the Federation, and Rillick asks Burnham and Saru to participate. Culber suggests that Sylvia Tilly, who has been feeling unsure about her place on the ship, accompany a group of new Starfleet Academy cadets on a team-building exercise. Adira also joins them for the mission, in which the cadets need to work together to survey a planet. They initially do not get along, but are forced to bond after they are thrown off course and crash land on a dangerous moon. Together they are able to signal a Starfleet ship that saves them and returns them to Federation headquarters, where the mysterious Dr. Kovich offers Tilly a teaching position at Starfleet Academy. Talks between Navarre and the Federation appear to break down, but Burnham and Saru talk both sides and offer a compromise that they all agree to. A committee independent of Federation leadership will regularly review the Union and provide independent oversight, and Burnham offers to serve on the committee as a citizen of both the Federation and Navarre. Tilly later accepts the teaching position and leaves the ship. In episode 5, The Examples, the DMA disappears and reappears 1,000 light years away seconds later, proving that it is not a naturally occurring anomaly. Scientist Ruon Taka joins the ship to help determine who created the DMA and is able to make a model of it which requires more power than Discovery can give. Learning that the Radvek asteroid belt is in the DMA's new path, Discovery is sent to evacuate its inhabitants. The magistrate of the belt is grateful for their help and begins organising for his people to beam aboard, but he refuses to release their prisoners, who he refers to as the Examples. Burnham and Book go to release the prisoners themselves, who claim to have been imprisoned unjustly. Burnham convinces them to escape by offering them asylum on Discovery, but one, Felix, chooses to stay behind. He reveals that he accidentally stole an orb recording a family's heritage and then murdered the owner in the ensuing fight. Book still wants to save him, but Burnham honours Felix's wishes and he dies when the asteroid asteroid belt is destroyed by the DMA. Burnham later gives the orb to the daughter of the man Felix killed. In episode 6, Stormy Weather, Discovery enters a subspace rift created by the DMA to investigate it, finding a void that they are unable to navigate out of. A dot robot leaves the ship to investigate and disintegrates. Book and Stamets attempt to jump the ship out of the rift, but Book begins having hallucinations of his deceased father, whose birthday it is. Stamets realizes that the hallucinations have been caused by interaction with particles from the barrier at the edge of the galaxy. The ship's advanced computer, Zora, attempts to carry out her usual duties while helping to find a way out of the rift and unusually finds herself becoming overwhelmed with data. Gray offers to help Zora clear her processes by playing a game together. After doing this, Zora is able to detect microvariances on the external sensors, which can be used to lead them out of the void. To protect the crew from the effect that moving through the void will have, Burnham transports them all into the pattern buffer, where matter is converted into energy for transportation, and flies the ship with Zora. Burnham wakes up in sickbay to learn that they successfully exited the rift. In episode 7, But to Connect, Zora determines the location of the DMA's creator, referred to as Unknown Species 10C, but refuses to share this with the crew out of concern for their safety. Dr. Kovich consults on Zora's behavior and notes that Starfleet has regulations against sentient systems being integrated with starships. Members of the crew advocate for Zora and her intentions, but others are concerned with her not following orders due to her control of all the ship's systems. Investigating her evolved programming, Kovich determines that Zora is a new life form and can remain on the ship, but to do so, she is required to enlist in Starfleet and follow all the orders from her superiors. She agrees and reveals the coordinates. Meanwhile, Burnham and Book attend an assembly of Federation and non-Federation representatives to discuss the DMA. Rillick and Burnham want to contact 10C and try to avoid escalating the conflict, but Book supports Taka, who has designed a weapon to destroy the DMA before it harms anyone else. The assembly votes in favor of first contact. Taka and Book escape, planning to use the weapon themselves. In episode 8, All In, Taka needs isolinium to complete his weapon, and Burnham knows which black market dealer Book will try to get it from. Rillick refuses to let her go after him, and Vance publicly disagrees but secretly gives Burnham different orders: gather data on 10C's coordinates, but at the same time try to get the isolinium before Book and Taka do. The latter pair arrive at a casino on Parathia and meet with Huz Mazzaro, who agrees to sell them the isolinium if Book helps find a cheater in the casino. Burnham and Operations Officer Joanne Awoshikan arrive soon after and buy charts from Mazzaro that map 10C's coordinates. They are unable to outbid Book and Taka for the isolinium, so Awoshikan fights in a ring to earn them more money. They approach Mazzaro with the money just as Book captures a cheater, and the dealer decides to settle this draw with a card game. Book wins the game and claims the isolinium, but not before Burnham plants a tracker on it. The charts reveal a large artificial hyperfield beyond the galactic barrier, and data suggests that it is powered by rare boronite that the DMA mines from planets. In episode 9, Rubicon, former Discovery security officer Nan is assigned to supervise the ship as it follows Burnham's tracking device to ensure that Burnham does not allow her personal feelings to get in the way of stopping Book and Taka. They jump to a position near Book's ship where Book and Taka complete the weapon. Saru leads a cloaked shuttle to sneak aboard Book's ship and disable the weapon, but it is attacked by a new automated security system that Taka installed on Book's ship. Book helps Saru and the shuttle's crew escape back to Discovery and then finds the tracker and disables it. He jumps into the DMA and Discovery follows. Nan prepares to order that Book's ship be destroyed before it can attack the controller at the center of the DMA. Both ships find the controller and there is a standoff in which Burnham is able to convince both Nan and Book to stand down. Taka goes behind Book's back and fires the weapon at the controller, destroying it and the DMA, but he does not find the power source that he expected to be there. Book and Taka escape, and a new DMA appears in the same location soon after. In episode 10, The Galactic Barrier, fearing retaliation from species 10C, Rillick moves up the timeline for first contact. She, Tarina, and several diplomats aboard Discovery, which jumps to the Galactic Barrier and begins the dangerous flight through it. Before they lose contact with the Federation, they are contacted by Vance, who tells them that the DMA is now close to destroying Earth and Navarre. Meanwhile, Book and Taka need programmable antimatter to make it through the barrier themselves and travel to a stash of it that Taka has in an abandoned prison where he was once held. Taka explains that he had befriended a fellow prisoner, Oros, who built a machine to transport them to a peaceful parallel universe. They were separated and Taka does not know if Oros was successful, but he hopes so and has built his own machine so that he can travel there. It requires a large amount of power, and Taka has planned to use the DMA's power source before realizing that it is at 10C's location rather than in the the DMA itself. After a difficult fight, Discovery emerges from the Galactic Barrier and begins travelling towards 10C's coordinates. In episode 11, Rosetta, Burnham decides to visit a dead planet near the hyperfield which may be the homeworld of species 10C. Earth General Dieta Ndoye believes this is a waste of time, but the other diplomats support the decision if it provides useful information. Burnham travels to the planet with Saru, Culber, and pilot Kayla Detmer, where they find the large skeletons of a species that once lived in the planet's former gas layers. They also begin to experience hallucinations that create strong feelings such as fear. The team deduced that 10C fled the planet during meteor strikes that burned away the gas and killed some members of the species, and that the species use complex hydrocarbon compounds to communicate their emotions, which are now affecting them on the planet. They believe they can use these hydrocarbons to help communicate with 10C. Meanwhile, Book and Taka follow Discovery to the planet and sneak aboard. Taka bypasses Zora's sensors and allow the ship to be attached to Discovery undetected, taking engineer Jet Reno hostage in the process. Book convinces Ndoye to help them destroy the DMA. In episode 12, species 10C, Discovery releases the hydrocarbon representing peace into the hyperfield. It is soon pulled into the structure and surrounded by an orb made of an unknown substance. Members of species 10C respond with more hydrocarbons and a light pattern which the crew deciphers as a bridge language that uses mathematical equations. 10C uses the language to question why the DMA was destroyed by Taka's weapon, and the crew are able to communicate their fear of the DMA. On Book's ship, Taka plans to use Ndoye to ignite a plasma stream from Discovery that will allow them to escape the orb and fly directly to the DMA's power source. Reno realizes that if Taka takes the power source now, it will destroy the hyperfield and all inside it, and likely still destroy Earth and Navarre. Book confronts Taka about this, but Taka uses his upgrades to the ship to restrain Book. As the crew of Discovery attempt to ask 10C to withdraw the DMA, Ndoye enacts Taka's plan and Book's ship escapes. The 10C members stop communicating. Rena is able to get a message to Burnham explaining Taka's plan. In episode 13, Coming Home, Taka begins dismantling the power source's container, causing dangerous plasma bursts. Tarina learns that the minds of the 10C are connected and they do not understand that Taka is acting independently of Discovery. The crew sacrifices Discovery's spore drive to escape the orb, but are unable to approach Book's ship due to the plasma. Ndoye offers to make amends by ramming Book's ship with a shuttlecraft, killing Taka. Ndoye and Reno are beamed to safety, but Book seemingly dies. The crew of Discovery meet members of 10C on a planet inside the hyperfield and explain that Taka was working alone, and why. The 10C turn off the DMA, sparing Earth and Navarre, and reveal that they saved Book. Discussing his grief and using his empathic abilities, Book convinces 10C to stop using the DMA altogether, take down the hyperfield, and start working with others to make amends for the harm caused by the DMA. 10C uses a wormhole to send Discovery to Earth, which decides to rejoin the Federation. Book is punished for his actions by being sent to help others who have been harmed by the DMA. Thanks for watching my recap video on Star Trek Discovery Season 4. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, it really helps out, as well as checking out the merch in the merch store. Plenty of cool t-shirts and hoodies and caps and mugs at discount bargain prices always, which really helps support the channel. I'll catch you guys on my next video. I'll see you soon.